Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be going over another Great League Remix Cup team. And in this team, we're about 8 days in. 7, 8, 9, 10 days into this meta. So, 9 or 10, whatever. And, this is going to be a double ice team. It's going to be Alolan Ninetales in the front with Froslass in the back and Shadow Manezone as the closer. So, one thing that this team, if you just thought about double ice and Manezone, has a weakness to is fighting damage, specifically counter and annihilate. In order to undo that, you have to look at the subtypings of the Icemon that are being used. So specifically for us, we have Alolan Ninetales, which has a subtyping of Fairy, and Froslass, which has a subtyping of Ghost. So we're resisting and double resisting with those, the fighting type there. So the Alolan Ninetales is going to have Charm in the front, so high damage. It's Shadow, by the way. High damage up front. If we go down shields, we can win switch no matter what, although you don't want to go down both of your shields because you definitely want Manezone to have a shield. It is just way too frail. Even in its best matchups, it can probably get one-shot by a lot of things. And then Froslass obviously has access to, maybe it's not obvious, Froslass hasn't been in the meta for a very long time. Froslass has Powder Snow, Avalanche, and Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball being one of the best damage per energy moves in the game, especially at the rate that you get to it. I believe it's 55 energy for Shadow Ball, and it just does a ton of damage. I think it's 100 damage. Someone can correct me in the comments below. I'm not an expert at the numbers as much as some of the other people are, but I try to learn. One thing actually that I just reminded myself of is Froslass kind of was in the Open Great League meta for a while, maybe 2 and 3 seasons ago. So for a few seasons, it was being used at that level. But Gligar has only come to fruition somewhat recently with the Aerial Ace buff and the Dig buff, I believe. So they really haven't been in the same time zone of a meta. So you haven't really had to worry too much about this type of ice, this specific Icemon for Gligar. And then another thing that Gligar has faced though with ice is Dugong, but Dugong would have that counter weakness, which we're really trying to avoid since it doesn't have a subtyping that is strong. All right, if you haven't, definitely hit the subscribe button. This intro's gone very long, and we'll just get into the battles here. All right, Shadow Manezone here in the lead. Obviously, this is not great for us, although it is Shadow, so Shadow on Shadow is going to take a lot of damage. I have noticed also that they really want to be efficient with their timing, which, to be fair, we can exploit by going one under here and then swapping and catching. And not only catching, we get the Volt Switch through. This person's having just a bad day here, so let me see if I think my camera was probably good. All right, they end up just quitting right away, and yeah, that's the first game. All right, Mantine into Alolan Ninetales. This is an interesting matchup. If they do have Water Pulse, they're going to throw it here, but most of the time they have the Aerial Ace, which means we're going to definitely get the Weather Ball off first, or we're definitely going to get the Weather Ball off without having to shield, so that we at least know what they're trying to do, and then we can decide whether or not we want to shield at this point. The one interesting thing about having Mantine up front, and I really like the shield for this specific reason, is that Manezone is probably not going to be doing well into most of their back lines. And so if we at least get to see what one of their things is in the back, we can try to avoid at least that Mon with Manezone and hope that the other Mon is neutral. Obviously, Froslass is going to be doing really good against the Gligar here. We do have to save the shield for the Manezone, so probably not going to shield this Dig, and then hopefully we farm down. It does end up being an Annihilate, which is worst case scenario, I guess. But if we get the shield here, we can at least try to go for a Wild Charge, which they are going to be able to throw before we are, so we are going to have to shield this. But if they do come in with a Gligar, they're going to have to throw a move into us because they aren't going to be able to fast attack us down because we do resist the wing attacks. And that means we can get a lot of damage off with the... Yeah, we were always going to be able to farm this down if they tried to get extra energy. And we obviously have the Froslass, and this is 1 or 2 Powder Snows away. I'm actually so surprised it was 2. That looked like 1 right there. All right, a Gligar lead, Shadow Gligar specifically, I have been looking into, and I just made for the very first time because I didn't notice, but I never had a regular Gligar It's weird. When Gligar came around, oh, they sniped us with the Empoleon. When Gligar came around, I just made the Shadow Gligar and didn't even think about, and never even tried to think about a regular Gligar. But I think regular Gligar has its own cases for winning some of these matchups that a Shadow couldn't, and vice versa. So it really depends on what you want to win, what matchups you want to win. So I'll definitely look into that. I did end up making one, so I have one now. And I think I might use it here in Great League Remix while we still have it around. But even if I don't, I'll still be able to make it for Open Great League and try it out there. They do end up coming with an Annihilate. We throw double wall charge into it. We take both shields. We come in with the Froslass. The thing we most have to be worried about is the possibility. We saw we clicked the move there, but we must have had a 1 turn delay on the entrance, because I know for a fact Froslass wins CMP against Gligar. But I guess now we have the Shadow Ball. We do CMP with the Annihilate. You do lose CMP against this Annihilate, apparently. I didn't know that. If we're learning anything from the channel, at least we're going to learn these CMPs. If you're going to be using Froslass for the first time after this video, at least learn some of the CMPs here and the counts. Those are the things you can best learn, I think, from this video. As well as seeing other team comps and being more familiar with those teams based on the fact that we're seeing them here. We're probably going to see them yourself in Go Battle League at some point. So the thing about Quagsire here is, I feel like I was going to say Quagmire. I thought I did say it. Is that it does have the possibility of having Stone Edge. We do respect it and go for the shield, but they end up throwing Aqua Tail in the first one, and now they throw another Aqua Tail, and there's going to be a third Aqua Tail. We might live, but I don't think we will. Yeah. If we wanted to get super greedy, we could come in with Manezone here and go for farm down. I think they're going to make it to an Aqua Tail, though. Technically you live, but it's not worth taking a ton of damage here. At least get the priority here. And to be fair, we probably aren't going to meet things that are going to be too hard for us, although this ends up having double kick. And another good thing to see there was the timing we threw. So if you're running a Manezone, the 4-turn timing means you want to throw twice into their 3-turn timing of double kick, because 3-turn moves is 9 turns total. 2 4-turn moves is 8 turns total, so you'll get perfectly underneath that threshold, and you'll be able to swap or do anything. But either way, you'll have priority before them to throw, and at the perfect energy efficiency as well. We are going to resist this, and I believe we're at a mirror shot, which is probably going to be enough to take out the double, and we're definitely going to win CMP against the double. Another CMP lesson there. All right, another Quagsire lead. Again, I guess 2 in a row here. Ross Waldman subscribed in the middle of me recording this. This is not being streamed or anything. It just so happens to use the same software. But thank you for the subscription, Ross Waldman. And if you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe. What I noticed in this matchup while I was just talking about subscribers is that we ended up just not going for the bait there. And because we just played against one person, and it's like, hey, if one person's going to do it, maybe they all do it. Going to allow the dig to come through here. It's going to get us down to about 30-35%. Looks like more closer to 35-37. And we do win CMP, so we can just go to 5 here, throw on their Aerial Ace. And if they want to shield, we'll shield and farm down, have the energy enough for possibly a Shadow Ball into whatever's in the back, or even a... I mean, we have a lot of HP here. We can see what's in the back. We do know the Quagsire was already alive there, so it looks like they're just trying to eat the energy of this and then have their last Mon kind of go through everyone here. But it ends up being a Pelipper. We have an electric. Pelipper is very frail. I imagine it won't take very many Volt Switches. 1, 2. I think it would have taken 3, but it only took this person 2 before they decided they wanted to get out. Which I respect. I mean, no need to waste any time, and they were always going to lose that. Okay, I think we're going to try to go for the same thing here. Probably go for one more charm after this, and then switch into our own Manezone. Yeah, I guess a lot of people like to do this. Is our opponent Shadow? No, it looks like our opponent is a normal Manezone. They do come in with Gligar. That's a bit unfortunate. But the interesting thing here is, even if we get debuffed here twice to our defense, they still throw Dig. So it's very possible if they're going to throw Dig, we can throw another Wild Charge. And they're... Mirror Shot. Does this KO? They might shield because we already shielded, but they still kind of have to go for a dig here. Okay. We can get 2 more Volt Switches in before we have to go for like a Mirror Shot. Okay. I like going for the first one here. I guess we're really close to 100 energy as well. And they're out of shields, so technically we could throw something. We end up catching here on our own on our Alolan Ninetales, but they actually end up throwing the Mirror Shot. But at least they're out of energy, but we probably have to come in with our Manezone because they're going to be able to outpace and then throw a Wild Charge into our Froslass, which is not what we want. So we'll go ahead and sacrifice this Manezone for the sake of the Froslass in the back. Ends up being a Cresselia. I would have gone for Wild Charge here, but maybe they could have farmed us down. So maybe the Mirror Shot plus a Wild Charge is actually better. Oh, and they get the attack drop. Was always better, y'all. He knew. Although, to be fair, I think we just didn't want to get farmed down, and I think that actually makes a lot more sense to go for the 2 moves because you're not going to get to 2 Wild Charges. And even the first Wild Charge is going to reduce your defense by 2 times, and you already reduced it twice from the other Manezone, so they definitely would have been able to Psycho Cut you down when your defense is 4 times dropped. All right, Gligar lead, another Shadow Gligar, so at least it's taking extra damage from the charms. Although, to be fair, maybe we don't want that. Oh, they actually end up getting, like, they just let it go here. Not going to be able to farm us down before we get to the Weather Balls, so at least this is neutral damage coming into this Ferrothorn, but both of our matchups in the back are kind of meh. Actually, all 3 of these Mon are kind of weak to Ferrothorn. I mean, they can beat it as a team. But we're going to take at least one of these Power Whips anyways. We can shield the next one. They do have 100 energy, so technically they do have one, but they're going to throw 1 Bullet Seed before to be efficient on the timing. They have a 3-turn move against our 2-turn move, so they definitely want to throw 1 and get the extra in because they might have a chance to get to another one, and they definitely will. I guess we're going to go for the 2 shield farm down, have Froslass with a lot of energy. Again, has access to the Shadow Ball, so going to have a chance to take these shields back. Obviously, we make it to the Shadow Ball here, and we're definitely going to outpace to another Shadow Ball, although since we did land that one, we only need to go for the Aerial Ace here. This is definitely going to KO. Probably we don't want to get it farmed down or let them get extra energy, so we're going to come in with the Manezone. Going to go for the farm down, I think. 2 Grass Knots not going to be enough to KO the Shadow Manezone. Although if you did start the matchup and you went to like the 2 shields or something like that, yeah, the Psycho Cuts would add up to where 2 would be kind of close. But 2 just straight up not going to be enough, and we just gonna throw the Mirror Shot into this anyways. GG. All right, Annihilate. Well, this is kind of where we want to see it. They do come in with the Mantine, obviously double super effective here. Technically, a Water Pulse not going to KO, plus they have Annihilate, so we don't want to shield anything here. We just want to farm this down and then throw 1 Wild Charge into the Annihilate. Maybe we have time to throw a Mirror Shot and a Wild Charge, but that would be kind of greedy. Oh, man, they end up leaving, so nice. A regular Gligar. That's what I want. I want to be this guy. No, but we're going to be on this side of the things here, and obviously we've seen a lot of Gligar leads. If you're seeing a lot of Gligar, obviously Double Ice is going to be very good against that, especially Froslass in general. Even if you don't take anything away from this video except this, Froslass is something worth trying, and yeah, obviously, especially if you're running into a lot of Gligar. Coming in with a Froslass, they actually did not know what move they wanted to throw into what was coming in, so they decided to go for 1 more fast attack, and that is a freaking mistake. They just totally lost that Gligar. We're definitely going to outpace to the Shadow Ball here. I believe we also win CMP against this. 1 Shadow Ball definitely not going to be enough to take out the regular Poliwrath. The question is, do we want to exert a shield here for the Scald? Ends up being Icy Wind. Great call. Chooses to come in with the Manezone. Weird, we threw the 2 turns before, but it took it this time. That's kind of weird. Going for the Mirror Shot. Okay, I actually really like this because the reason he's not throwing a Wild Charge is because he doesn't want to give extra energy to the Poliwrath. Wants to go for a farm down here. Gonna have to use both the shields, but again, gonna win CMP against the Poliwrath, and they've already taken 1 Shadow Ball, so this next Shadow Ball is definitely gonna KO. We're definitely gonna be at the move. I think we're gonna end up being 1 over. Just make sure they don't come in with it, but their switch is probably not up yet anyways, and again, we're gonna win CMP here, and that's gonna be GG. Really great game. That was a really good one right there. Really, really good game. Ooh, and that's the end. All right. Thank you so much, y'all, for watching. Again, if you don't take anything away from this video, except that Froslass is pretty good, and you should try it out, especially if you're running into the Glygars. It's double super effective against Gligar, doesn't die to one dig, has the ability to, or has the charge attack of Shadow Ball, which means that it can throw that high hitting move into a lot of things. Really, the only thing that it really wouldn't mind is Mandibuzz. That one you'd obviously want to be throwing Avalanche into, but you have the coverage for that as well. Mandibuzz would be a really good mon against Froslass, but you do have the ability to hit it with Avalanche, which is super effective. So yeah, Froslass is great, and this team is pretty good. You don't see too much Alolan Ninetales, and again, I've never seen a Froslass, so definitely would catch some people off guard. All right, if you like this video, hit the like. If you haven't, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you want to catch some more videos coming out. And I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and it's the day after Mother's Day. If you have anyone in your life that is a mother, definitely send them, and you forgot to message them or call them or whatever, definitely send them a message or call them up and wish them Happy Mother's Day. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video, and if you want to continue to support me, definitely click that subscribe button. You'll see any content coming out, and if you want another video on this same league for some more tips and tricks to other teams, check that video out right there, and I'll see you in the next one.